Welcome to the Real Estate Power Play Podcast, your launch pad for skyrocketing success in real estate investing. I'm your host, Gabe Rodarte, alongside Mark Monroe. We're ready to bring you transformative stories, groundbreaking strategies, and the insider secrets of real estate giants. Get ready to accelerate your investment journey and become a true power player in the world of real estate. So, hey guys, what's up? This is Gabe with the Real Estate Power Play Podcast. And we're just here at the Commercial Academy and here in Cleveland, Ohio. Beautiful Cleveland. And I'm with my good buddy, Pat Moore from City Plat. And I was able to pull him away from the conference for a little bit and go over a little bit about what you do in your business and really how you got started and being able to share with those who are just getting involved or maybe moving from residential to commercial or just really looking at the commercial space. So share a little bit about your story of just quick, how'd you get involved with commercial? Like
I've always known I wanted to be in commercial real estate. I don't know why that was instilled in me, but it was always there. I didn't necessarily know how to get there. So I kind of took a path of real estate development, construction, urban planning. That's what I studied when I was in college. And just kind of found my way to North Carolina, which introduced me to my current business partners and sort of just kind of put my nose down and focused on land entitlement, land development, and it kind of led to the commercial space, the commercial brokerage space, which now has led to the commercial acquisition of just retail industrial assets. And so it's been a wild ride and a blessing.
Yes, you've and that was really fast. That was really good. That was 1 minute.
Yeah.
When did you move to North Carolina?
I moved to North Carolina in 2016.
Because you're in Pittsburgh, right?
I'm originally from a small town outside of
And
Pittsburgh.
you went to school for?
Yeah, I went to Pitt for urban planning and architecture.
Okay.
I studied, and I wouldn't recommend that if you want to jump into the commercial real estate acquisition world.
Yeah.
I think there's better degrees out there that can teach you more about finance and how that side of things is structured, along with some entrepreneurship type classes, of course.
Okay. That's good to know. I think that we run into people in the commercial space and they come from all worlds, right? And you got the guys that just come out of college and they're just ready to go and they have different degrees of whatnot. And then you have gentlemen like me who've been through the ringer in different areas of real estate and said, you know what, commercial really is the fun place to be.
Right. It is, but I would say, if you want to get into commercial real estate, you just got to jump in, find a shop, get your license, start being a broker. That's the least riskiest way to get into the industry. You're gonna scrap for a while, sure, but that's the way you learn, and that's the way you can make some money doing it, and then you just find your way.
Yeah, I would agree to that. That's definitely the route that we chose, is really getting involved there. Of course, we came from residential side. What is something that's happening right now with City Plat? I mean, you guys have been blowing up all over your area. You've been around for a while. Establish your name, your brand. When you guys were how long have you guys been around now?
We had our 5-year anniversary in April.
Yeah, that's amazing, dude.
It's been a blessing.
I mean, amazing.
It's been good.
Yeah. So what is something that has helped you guys excel as far as your growth-wise? Because you have a brokerage side, you have an acquisition arm, which is predominantly the majority of the business now.
Numerous things, and I mean, there's so many factors, but I'd say the leadership team, we're in line with our vision, with our goals, with our morals, with our values, and we're all in similar seasons of life where we've got a lot of runway in life to where we can sort of do life together, push each other in different aspects of that, and I think that's so important that you align in those aspects. And also, our team is also just such a great thing to have. I mean, we've got, I want to say we're in the low 20s right now between brokers and support staff. Okay. And they're great at what they do. They're hungry. They push each other in their own arenas, and they're learning. Yeah. And I just think that having them around is just it's a breath of fresh air for sure.
One of the things you guys do different that I like is the fact that you are educating your team. There's many brokerages and many teams, just acquisition teams, that really it's the 2 or 3 head guys and they're pushing hard. And then you have the admin staff, or you have the brokers, you have other people that are doing the running, and they might not be, well, we're not really readers, we're not really listeners. How do you guys get that and disseminate that to your team? Do you guys have team meetings, or you're like, what are you guys doing to
every
really?
Tuesday we have a team meeting where everybody on the entire team is there, not just the brokerage team. And we've instilled our core values with the team, and it kind of reflects all of those different things. And we have a section of our meeting where each person is allowed to call out other individuals in the team for these different aspects of the past week. So there's not a person that I don't think calls out at least 3 people for various activities, whether it's one of my favorites is humble confidence. If somebody's just doing things in a very humble manner, but they're confident about it.
Yeah.
We have the call for that. We have a call for commitment to growth. So if you go above and beyond with your extracurricular education, whether it's a book, class you took above and beyond, or just something along those lines, there's a call out for that. So there's just various things that we really want to instill, and we do so by just reinstating it every single week.
Wow. Well, how do you get the information, the outside? So that actually helps generate internally,
Sure.
like this momentum. Are you guys disseminating, hey guys, I just read this good book, or are you just just a chat group, or how are you guys getting it within your team?
Yeah. We always go over another section of that meeting is what we did to push ourselves in terms of personal growth, whether it's physical, spiritual, mental, any of those. We want all of those as part of the team.
Yeah.
I mean, I think being well-rounded is so important.
Yeah.
And that's at City Plant. We don't just emphasize, hey, put your head down and work and get things done. It's
Right.
we want people to be in shape. We want people to
Right.
pursue spiritual activities, faith activities, things along those lines, because that's what really creates the bond that creates long-lasting relationships and or partnerships is what
Right.
we want to facilitate.
So when did you guys start coming around? I mean, did you guys just start this going, hey, this is a great idea, let's do all this? Or how's this is just like morphed into a machine of going, you know what, let's add this next meeting. Let's see how this works.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an ever morphing thing. We've always had the weekly team meeting, and we've been refining it for the 5 years we've been in existence.
Yeah.
We use EOS, so traction. Gina Wickman, I think, is who wrote that book.
Yeah.
So during our quarterly sessions with our implementer, we go over various activities in the business, and that's kind of where we focus on those types of meetings and like how can we refine them, how can we make them better. And it's definitely not perfect, but it's we're happy where it is.
How many groups do you know, maybe of your size and whatnot? Like, are you seeing a lot more people just say, you know what, traction's the way to go for groups like this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so the implementer, they come in as what? What do they help you do? Is it an individual? Is it a team? Or how does that work?
Initially, they are a lot more involved in terms of just the exercises and ways to think about it. Basically, you're removing yourself from the business so you can get an aerial view of the business and then work on it. And he just really helps us see that and understand what to look for and the different exercises to do. But the more you do, I'd say the first year is the hardest, just because it's kind of, you're going against the grain a little bit. That's what you're used to. And there's a lot of, if you haven't done it in a long time, there can be a lot of just
new
tips.
language. And
But also it's almost like a therapy session between partners.
Right.
There might be some things that never got uncovered or discussed that just need to get out.
Yeah.
So a lot of the first year is that type of activity, but then after that, it kind of becomes this reoccurring thing, that just a recalibration or a retooling of the direction, and you've got to have that. So it's very powerful for us.
Wow. Let's go into what you guys have accomplished acquisition-wise. So you have a brokerage, and for those that don't know, take a look at them.
Yep.
Raleigh, Durham. You're in the Triangle.
Yeah, from a brokerage standpoint, we operate mainly in the Triangle, which is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. From an acquisition standpoint, we own assets in Raleigh, the Triangle, the Triad, which is Winston-Salem, Greensboro, and High Point, and then down in Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah, so we operate across the state of North Carolina from an acquisition standpoint, but from a brokerage standpoint, we really try to be the experts in our own backyard.
When you work with the acquisitions point, let's say you're working with either direct to seller, or you're working with other brokers, are you presenting yourself as City Plat, or are you guys going, no, we're just a one-off team, or it's like, hey, because I know you might have your own personal stuff.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, it's always City Plat Capital is the is what our acquisitions department is coined as, and that's kind of how we pursue the deals.
Is there any pushback or anything like that, or stuff like that, or you're saying that, hey, once you create a big brand or a decent brand, I mean, if you're watching, you're probably a one-off. You might not be building something this big, or even want to have aspirations. This is a lot of work to do this.
There can be perceived conflicts, but we operate at a level of just, I think, integrity that kind of eliminates that.
Yeah.
But also, we've really changed our brand image to more of an acquisition development firm than that of a brokerage firm.
Okay.
I mean, the brokerage has really helped us with brand awareness and getting out there as a name. But whenever we explain what we are, we're more so an acquisitions firm with a brokerage arm that helps service that more than just a pure brokerage company.
That's interesting. As we're going and growing our stuff, I'm looking at it from a way of, it kind of starts off as a brokerage model, right? Where you're getting your name out there, you want people to know who you are and what you're doing. You had 4 guys to start with, and then it just kept on growing. One of the things that I like about what you guys are doing, and again, it kind of goes back to the team aspect of how you're getting your name out there in multiple factors, right? In what you're doing. How are you guys getting your name out there with just in the beginning? Now you guys are established, but in the beginning, were you guys just listing properties? Were you just connecting with your team, brought in new brokers? Like how are you guys really
Actually, the first, it was a flurry of things. It was during COVID when we started, so it was like the first year of COVID, and there wasn't a lot of business activity going on at all.
Got it.
And we had a lot of transactions that closed that we actually purchased ourselves. And there was a couple different pieces of land in downtown Raleigh, if I remember correctly, and we bought our building where our headquarters is. So there was it seemed like there was every month there was a new story in the Triangle Business Journal about us acquiring something. So that momentum really helped us kind of catapult it at the very initial stages of it. It kind of created a buzz, and whenever there wasn't much going on, we were the top story.
Right.
So that kind of helped us
with market share.
Exactly, and also the brokerage component. If you have a few listings, call it, in a few key locations, key corridors or whatever, and they're listed for 6 months a year, because that's how long commercial transactions or land take, your sign is up for 6 months to 18 months, sometimes 2 years.
Wow.
So there's a lot of visibility there with the brand that you can create basically for nothing.
That's really interesting. What would you suggest someone in this current market who's looking to acquire? Right, they're looking to acquire, they're in this market, and granted, every marketplace is different. Right. Raleigh's different than Houston.
Sure.
But in this place, in this season of our market, and you've gone through quite a bit. You were, for those who don't know, he was doing individual brokerage stuff for 8 years beforehand or something like that?
Yeah.
So you've seen multiple cycles.
Yeah. Rephrase that question.
Okay, so if there's someone that's coming in that wants to get involved in commercial real estate and acquire.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of season is this of acquisition? Is this a season where you're just going, buy and get ready to flip, or do you buy and hold?
This is the best season to get in because it's slow, and you're going to learn a slow market. I got in on a very hot market, so whenever you get into the hot market, you think this is always how it's going to be, and it's not. Yeah. So get in a slow time so you can learn how to cut your teeth whenever things aren't great, both from a lending standpoint, from an acquisition standpoint. Right now, sellers, if they really are true sellers, which this is how you determine if they are or they aren't, their value perception is that of 2 or 3 years ago, which was the height.
Yeah.
It's not there anymore, period. So if they're not a seller, then they're not coming down on their pricing to make it make sense from a financing standpoint, right? So that's why this is such a great time to start having those conversations with sellers and start making offers. I mean, LOIs it's like playing the free lottery, right? Yeah. So just make offers.
It was one of the things that I've learned from you on that one deal that I totally messed up. I thought it was something else, and you're like, dude, just an offer is like it's a free lottery ticket. You just don't know what you're going to get.
Right. And another rule that it's difficult to wrap your head around it. My dad taught me this one, when I was growing up. But if you're not embarrassed by your first offer, you've offered too much. Yeah. So you just want to make sure that you're treading those waters carefully and doing it respectfully. But make offers that make sense for you. In a market like this, you do not want to overpay, and you don't want to get stuck with something that you can't sell. So you really want to make sure that you are offering something that you can make work.
Are you open to sharing just kind of like not where your guys' portfolios overall, but just some of the stuff that you guys have been acquiring lately? What you focused on?
I'd say historically we acquire anywhere from 2 to 4 assets a quarter for the last 4 or 5 years. Most of those are in the industrial, flex, and or retail realm.
Okay.
Some small pieces of land well located in downtown Raleigh that are covered land plays, but the majority of them are going to be the cash flowing value add assets. Right now we're under contract to acquire a very large dark Kmart in Raleigh. It's 12.5 acres. It's 117,000 square feet. Yeah. So we're going to be repositioning that into a lifestyle retail center. And then in 10, 15 years, we believe the land will be worth 4 or 5x what we're paying for it.
Wow.
As either a large mixed-use development. I mean, it can be a myriad of things. So whenever you're acquiring something of that type of land scale, it adds layers of complexity, yes, but also exit strategies that might not have been on the table otherwise.
Wow. How do you guys look at, like, for those who are looking at their buy box or their criteria, and what I've noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong, but man, that can be a moving target sometimes.
Absolutely.
When you're like the market's changing, and so one of the things I've noticed is that people go, well, you got to have a set. Those who've been in the business, well, what is your asset class? What is your buy box? What is this? And I've noticed that things change as the market change.
It absolutely does, and it needs to. You need to recalibrate it often. So you should have like your 80%. Like, this is what we're going after, but then there's always those
nuances,
fringe, whether it's a location that's maybe a little bit outside of your ideal area, or if it's an asset that maybe it's a little bit too small, but there's a lot of good value upside, or maybe it's a little bit too big and you're just not sure if you can take it down. You've got to have room for those because you want to consider those.
Okay.
But the majority should be within your competency box, if you will.
I like that. So about 80% should be in the competency box, and then the 20% should be something that's on the fringe.
Yeah, you always you have to be open to deals. You can't just be completely shut off to them, but you need to go in with some hesitancy on those deals that are outside of your box.
Okay. That's really good. I was working with the gentleman, and he definitely had a very stringent box. And then as we were shopping for him, I actually had another broker, inform me. Yeah. Go, hey, listen, Gabe, if this is how you're going to do it, you're going to miss out on some really awesome assets.
Sure. As a broker, that can be frustrating.
Yeah.
Very frustrating, which is why you want to have more than a few clients. You really want to have a myriad of them, and also I'd recommend trying to stay on the listing side of those, because if you list it, there's a much better chance at closing the transactions, but you got to start. Yeah,
you got to get somewhere. Man, this has been good. I wanted to really hammer it out. Thanks for listening. If you want to get a hold of Pat, how do you get a hold of you guys? If you're in your place, we have, I don't know how many thousands of people that watch this or that goes throughout our different places without seller financing and creative financing. We do a lot of those things. How do they get a hold of you guys, and then how would you be able to help them? Like, what does it work if someone's like, hey, I have an asset, how do I get a hold of you guys?
Yeah, so our website, cityplat.com, is a good way to do it. Our directories are on there. I think my contact information is on there. I've got Instagram. I'm sure you can probably put it in the link.
Yeah, I'll do all that.
Yeah.
But what happens? Like, what's the process? They connect with you, and then what?
So I'll start with our acquisition buy box. Right, we're looking in the Carolinas, we're looking in South Carolina, North Carolina, and potentially Virginia for assets. We'll look at some things outside of that, but the market economics have to be right. We love small bay flex. We love small bay retail. We enjoy the big box retail as well, but it needs to be somewhat stabilized and with a component of value add. And if folks are interested in coming out to Raleigh and visiting us and seeing what we have going on, or investing in some deals, whatever the case may be, please reach out.
Yeah, if you guys are in the Raleigh area, they're the most open group. You guys are young, you're vibrant. I think what is your average age of your guys' team? Is probably 30?
32.
32?
Yeah, I think it's 32, 31.
32. And so a lot of college-aged gentlemen that come through there, and ladies that really look for opportunities to grow and learn the business.
Absolutely. And we're open to that.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, dude. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes,
all right.
sir.
See you.
Back to it.